Hello and welcome to Cloud Learner's Journey Part 11 of Azure Administrator Associate Real Exam Questions and Answers with explanation and references which you can find in the description. So let's get started. If you like the video, please like, share and subscribe to our Cloud Learner's Journey YouTube channel to help you pass the AZ-104 exam and become an Azure Administrator Associate. Question number 1. Your company has 3 virtual machines that are included in an availability set. You try to resize one of the VMs, which returns an allocation failure message. It is imperative that the VM is resized. Which of the following actions should you take? And the options are A. You should only stop one of the VMs. B. You should stop 2 of the VMs. C. You should stop all 3 VMs. D. You should remove the necessary VM from the availability set. And the correct option is C. You should stop all 3 VMs. The reason all VMs in the availability set must be stopped because it requires different hardware than all running VMs in the availability set using the same physical hardware cluster. Therefore, if a change of physical hardware cluster is required to change the VM size, then all VMs must be first stopped and then restarted one by one to a different physical hardware clusters. Next, question number 2. Your company's Azure subscription includes 2 Azure networks named Virtual Network A and Virtual Network B. Virtual Network A includes a VPN gateway that is configured to make use of static routing. Also, a site-to-site VPN connection exists between your company's on-premises network and Virtual Network A. You have configured a point-to-site VPN connection to a Virtual Network A from a workstation running Windows 10. After configuring virtual networks peering between Virtual Network A and Virtual Network B, you configure that you are able to access Virtual Network B from the company's on-premises network. However, you find that you cannot establish a connection to Virtual Network B from the Windows 10 workstation. You have to make sure that a connection to Virtual Network B can be established from the Windows 10 workstation. Here the solution is, you choose the Allow Gateway Transit setting on Virtual Network B. Does the solution meet the goal? And the options are A. Yes, B. No. And the correct option is B. No. If you make a change to the topology of your network and have Windows VPN clients, the VPN client package for Windows clients must be downloaded and installed again in order for the changes to be applied to the client. Next, question number 3. Your company's Azure subscription includes 2 Azure networks named Virtual Network A and Virtual Network B. Virtual Network A includes a VPN gateway that is configured to make use of static routing. Also, a site-to-site VPN connection exists between your connection's on-premise network and Virtual Network A. You have configured a point-to-site VPN connection to Virtual Network A from a workstation running Windows 10. After configuring virtual network peering between Virtual Network A and Virtual Network B, you configure that you are able to access Virtual Network B from the company's on-premises network. However, you find that you cannot establish a connection to Virtual Network B from the Windows 10 workstation. You have to make sure that a connection to Virtual Network B can be established from the Windows 10 workstation. It is same as previous question, but solution is different, and the solution is you choose the Allow Gateway Transit setting on Virtual Network A. Does the solution meet the goal? And the options are A. Yes, B. No. And the correct option is B. No. As we discussed in previous question, if you make a change to the topology of your network and have Windows VPN clients, the VPN clients package for Windows clients must be downloaded and installed again in order for the changes to be applied to the client. Next, question number 4. This is also same as previous 2 questions, but here the solution is different, and the solution is you download and reinstall the VPN client configuration package on the Windows 10 workstation. Does the solution meet the goal? And the options are A. Yes, B. No. And the correct option is A. Yes. You need to reinstall the VPN client configuration package on the Windows 10 workstation. Next, question number 5. You have an Azure policy as shown in the following exhibit. We have the exhibit below. The scope is for subscription 1 and the exclusion, Contoso RG1 in subscription 1, policy definition, not allowed resource types, assignment name, not allowed resource types, assigned by admin1 at contoso.com, parameters, not allowed resource types, is for Microsoft.SQL/servers. What is the effect of the policy? And the options are A. You are prevented from creating Azure SQL servers anywhere in subscription 1. B. You can create Azure SQL servers in Contoso RG1 only. C. You are prevented from creating Azure SQL servers in Contoso RG1 only. D. You can create Azure SQL servers in any resource groups within subscription 1. And the correct option is B. You can create Azure SQL servers in Contesto RG1 only. You are prevented from creating Azure SQL servers anywhere in subscription 1 with the exception of Contesto RG1, which was mentioned in the exhibit in exclusions field. Next, question number 6. You have an Azure subscription. Users access the resources in the subscription from either home or from customer sites. From home, users must establish a point-to-site VPN to access the Azure resources. The users on the customer side access the Azure resources by using site-to-site VPNs. You have a line of business apps named App1 that runs on several Azure virtual machines. The virtual machines runs Windows Server 2016. You need to ensure that the connections to App1 are spread across all the virtual machines. What are the two possible Azure services that you can use? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. And the options are A. An internal load balancer, B. A public load balancer, C. An Azure Content Delivery Network CDN, D. Traffic Manager, E. An Azure Application Gateway. And the correct options are A. An internal load balancer, E. An Azure Application Gateway. Reasons for each options are: for A, customer sites are connected through VPNs, so an internal load balancer is enough. B, customer sites are connected through VPNs, so there is no need for a public load balancer. An internal load balancer is enough. C, CDN doesn't provide load balancing for application, so it is not relevant for this situation. D, Traffic Manager is a DNS-based solution to direct users' requests to the nearest typically instances and doesn't provide load balancing for this situation. E. Azure Application Gateway is a valid option as it provides a load balancing in addition to routing and security functions. Next, question number 7. You have an Azure Active Directory tenant named contesto.onmicrosoft.com. The user administrator role is assigned to a user named admin1. An external partner has a Microsoft account that uses the user1 at outlook.com sign-in. Admin1 attempts to invite the external partner to sign in to Azure AD tenant and receives the following error message: unable to invite users, user1 at outlook.com, generic authorization exception. You need to ensure that admin1 can invite the external partner to sign in to the Azure AD tenant. What should you do? And the options are A. From the user setting blade, modify the external collaboration setting. B. From the custom domain names blade, add a custom domain. C. From the organizational relationships blade, add an identity provider. D. From the roles and administrators blade, assign the security administrator role to admin1. And the correct option is A. From the user settings blade, modify the external collaboration settings. You can adjust the guest user settings, their access, who can invite them for external collaboration settings. Next, question number 8. You need to ensure that an Azure Active Directory user named admin1 is assigned the required role to enable traffic analytics for an Azure subscription. Here the solution is, you assign the Traffic Manager contributor role at the subscription level to admin1. Does this meet the goal? And the options are A. Yes, B. No. And the correct answer is B. No. Your account must have any one of the Azure roles at the subscription scope. They are owner, contributor, reader, or network contributor. Next, question number 9. You have an Azure subscription that contains a storage account named Storage1. The Storage1 account contains a file share named Share1. The subscription is linked to a hybrid Azure Active Directory tenant that contains a security group named Group1. You need to grant Group1 the storage file data SMB share elevated contributor role for Share1. And the options are A. Enable Active Directory Domain Service ADTS authentication for Storage1. B. Grant share level permissions by using File Explorer. C. Mount Share1 by using File Explorer. D. Create a private endpoint. And the correct option is A. Enable Active Directory Domain Service ADTS authentication for Storage1. Before you enable Azure AD over SMB for Azure file shares, make sure you have completed the two prerequisites. Number 1. Select or create an Azure AD tenant. 2. To support authentication with Azure AD credentials, you must enable Azure AD domain service for your Azure AD account. Next, question number 10. You have an Azure AD tenant named adatom.com that contains the groups shown in the following table. Group 1, Group 2 is a member of Group 1, Group 3 is a member of Group 2. Adatom.com contains the users shown in the following table. User 1 is a member of Group 1, User 2 is a member of Group 2, User 3 is a member of Group 3, and User 4 is not a member of any group. You assign the Azure Active Directory Premium Plan 2 license to Group 1 and User 4. Which users are assigned the Active Directory Premium Plan 2 license? And the options are A. User 4 only, B. User 1 and User 4 only, C. User 1, User 2 and User 4 only, D. User 1, User 2, User 3 and User 4 only. And the correct option is B. User 1 and User 4 only. Group-based licensing currently doesn't support groups that contains other groups, which is a nested groups. If you apply a license to a nested group, only the immediate first level user members of a group have the licenses applied. Next, question number 11. You have an Azure storage account named Storage1. You have an Azure App Service app named App1 and an app named App2 that runs in an Azure container instance. Each app uses a managed identity. You need to ensure that App1 and App2 can read blobs from Storage1. The solution must meet the following requirements. Minimize the number of secrets used. Ensure that App2 can only read from Storage1 for the next 30 days. What should you configure in Storage1 for each app? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. In the answer area, for App1, correct option is Access Control IAM. Since the App1 uses managed identity, App1 can access the storage account via IAM. As per the requirement, we need to minimize the number of secrets used. So, access case is not ideal. For App2, correct option is Shared Access Signature, SAS. We need temporary access for App2, so we can achieve this by using SAS. Next, question number 12. You have a sync group named Sync1 that has a cloud endpoint. The cloud endpoint includes a file named file1.txt. Your on-premises network contains servers that run Windows Server 2016. The servers are configured as shown in the following table. Columns name, share, shared contents. Server 1 is in share 1 and with the shared contents file1.txt and file2.txt. Server 2 is in share 2 with shared contents file2.txt, file3.txt. You add share 1 as an endpoint for sync 1. 1 hour later, you add share 2 as an endpoint for sync 1. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. In the answer area for the first statement, on the cloud endpoint, file1.txt is overwritten by file1.txt from share 1. And the correct option is no. On server 1, file1.txt is overwritten by file1.txt from the cloud endpoint. And the correct option is no. Third statement, file1.txt from share 1 replicates to share 2. And the correct option is yes. Files are never overwritten. At most, when they have the same name, the older one is renamed to filename _ server name dot extension. Next, question number 13. You are configuring Azure Active Directory authentication for an Azure storage account named Storage1. You need to ensure that the members of a group named Group1 can upload files by using the Azure portal. The solution must use the principle of least privilege. Which two roles should you configure for Storage1? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. And the options are A. Storage account contributor, B. Storage blob data contributor, C. Reader, D. Contributor, E. Storage blob data reader. And the correct options are C. Reader, E. Storage blob data reader. To access blob data in the Azure portal with Azure AD credentials, user must have data access rules such as storage blob data reader or storage blob data container. Here we need to use with the least privilege, hence the option is storage blob data reader. The reader role is Azure Resource Manager role that permits users to view storage account resources, but not modify them. Next, question number 14. You have an Azure subscription that contains a storage account named Storage1. The Storage1 account contains a container named Container1. You need to create a lifecycle management rule for Storage1 that will automatically move the blobs in Container1 to the lowest cost tier after 90 days. How should you complete the rule? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. We have the rules, which is enabled, true, name, rule 1, type lifecycle, and the base blobs has the options enable auto tier 2 hot from cool, tier 2 archive, tier 2 cool, days after modification greater than 90 with filters, blob index match, blob types, prefix match. Correct option is tier 2 archive because it's the lowest cost tier and doesn't say anything about needed to read data after 90 days. However, rehydration cost will occur if they need to read it. Second option is prefix match because we only want the blob in the container one. Next, question number 15. You plan to automate the deployment of a virtual machine scale set that use the Windows Server 2016 data center image. You need to ensure that when the scale set virtual machines are provided, they have web server components installed. Which two actions should you perform? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. And the options are A. Upload a configuration script. B. Create an automation count. C. Create an Azure policy. D. Modify the extension profile section of the Azure Resource Manager template. E. Create a new virtual machine scale set in the Azure portal. And the correct options are A. Upload a configuration script. E. Create a new virtual machine scale set in the Azure portal. Custom script extension downloads and executes scripts on Azure VMs. This extension is useful for post-deployment configuration, software installation, or any other configurations or management tasks. Scripts can be downloaded from the Azure storage or GitHub or provided to the Azure portal. Here we end with part 11. Thank you for watching part 11 of Azure Administrator Associate Real Exam Questions and Answers. We hope you found it informative and helpful. If you liked the video, please like, share and comment and subscribe to our channel for more related topics. We look forward to continuing the journey with you in next videos. Thank you.